right, guys. So you're welcome to this call. You're all welcome to this call, right? You're all welcome to this call. So before we begin, right, I would like to introduce myself. I would like to introduce myself. Um, Today, right, you're going to actually unlock your future. You're going to discover the essential guide to cloud computing in 2026. And you're going to discover why cloud skills are actually non-negotiable for career, for business, and for personal growth, especially in this era of artificial intelligence. So you're all welcome, right? You're all welcome to this call. And I believe that after today, right, we are all going to have are going to benefit from all what we have today, right? So, what is my name, right? My name is Chinedu Nyemaoremus, aka Born Teacher, and I am your cloud engineer and trainer for this session. So, you're all welcome, right? You're all welcome, and I believe that we are all going to have a very good experience today because I know that we're all eager to understand this cloud computing we have been hearing about, right? This cloud engineering, everything, right? What is it all about, right? And today you're actually going to get all the information that you actually need, right? So let us continue. Let us continue with our slide. So the first one we'll do, right? We're going to look at our roadmap, right? Our roadmap to cloud mastery starts here. So what are going to be our objectives today? We're going to looking at what the cloud is, right? We're going to looking at how and why we should cloud in Nigeria now, right? Why are we going to cloud in Nigeria now? What is important in cloud in Nigeria now, right? So we are going to actually know why we should actually cloud in Nigeria now, right? In this era, right? Then again, right, we're going to be looking at the big players, right? This cloud computing we're talking about that we are always hearing about, right? What are the big players, right? We're going to know about who the big players are: AWS, Microsoft Azure, GCP, right? Then also we're going to be looking at the pathway to a cloud carrier. Then we're going to look at the present and the future, which is the cloud. And we can then we're going to finally look at how Tech Dealer Consulting can actually help us begin our cloud journey. So I hope we are all excited, right? I hope we are all excited to be here, and I am also excited to be here, right? So before we begin, right, I would like to show you my LinkedIn profile. So this is my LinkedIn profile. You can check me out on LinkedIn. You can see this is my name, Chinedu Nyema. Check me out on LinkedIn, and you can actually connect with me, right? You can see that I'm a cloud solutions architect and engineer. I'm into DevOps, cloud infrastructure trainer, and the likes, right? And I've trained over 1,000 people in building scalable cloud infrastructure. And you can see that I am in the edtech industry. So I am a trainer, right? And if you decide to join Tech Dealer, right, I am going to be your infrastructure trainer, and you're not going to actually regret it, right? You're not going to actually regret it. So you can actually check me out on LinkedIn, connect with me, and I'll be happy to connect with you too, right? I'll be very happy to connect with you too. So check me out, right? I'll be waiting for your connections, right? So let us begin the first step. Right, let us begin the first step. And what is the first step? We're going to introduce ourselves to what's cloud computing is. We're going to looking at the introduction to cloud computing, and we're going to looking at the history of cloud computing. So, what is the history and what is the introduction to cloud computing? Now, I believe everyone can see my screen clearly, right? Now, in the early 2000s, during the internet boom, right, Amazon.com, right, its online bookstore website was actually struggling internally. Now, every feature on Amazon.com, in terms of payments, in terms of recommendations, in terms of order processing, right, required teams to repeatedly build servers. They had to build storage. They had to build databases. They had to build it from scratch. Now, I'm not talking about Amazon Web Services. Now, if I come here to my screen here, let me show you what Amazon Web Services is, so you understand what I'm talking about. So let me come to here, and let me come here also to bring out another cloud platform that we're actually going to look at. which is GCP, right? So this is what Amazon Web Services is, right? And this is my account, right? But in this webinar, right, what I'm actually presenting to you here, right? We're not talking about Amazon Web Services. We're talking about what? Amazon.com, right? So back in the day, during the internet boom, right, when people, the internet was just growing, right? Amazon.com, right, had issue with their infrastructure. So what it meant was that they had slow operations, right? In which when they had traffic, they could not actually scale. So it means that when they had traffic, for example, if 1 million people were hitting their website, their servers, their application, their websites will go down, right? So this caused slow development, high cost, and constant operational bottlenecks. So to fix this, right, Amazon's engineering leadership, notably Jeff Bezos and his board, made a key decision, right? So what did they do? They said they were going to break Amazon's monolithic system into small, reusable internal services. Each services had to be scalable, reliable, and accessible via APIs. And the infrastructure should be self-service. So teams can actually launch without waiting on central IT. So after this board resolution, we all know who Jeff Bezos is, right? Jeff Bezos was currently he's not actually the richest man in the world, right? But he was once the richest man in the world, right? So after this, Jeff Bezos, right, and his board, they actually made a key decision, and it actually worked for them, right? After that, Amazon.com, which is the online bookstore, if you come here and I search for Amazon.com, let me search for Amazon.com and show you what I'm talking about. Amazon.com, and I click on it and I come here. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is Amazon. I'm talking about Amazon.com, not Amazon Web Services. So, Amazon.com is the retail part of Amazon where they sell things, books, they sell anything you want, right? Ranging from accessories to whatever you want, right? You can actually get it from Amazon.com, right? So, this is Amazon.com. So, what actually propelled them, right, was because of this Amazon.com where they sold things, right? So it was not scaling. And after that board resolution, right, they solved their infrastructure changes, right? All their infrastructure challenges, they actually solved it. But after that, they have realized that they've actually built different data centers in different locations in the United States of America and some parts of Europe where it had a huge customer base. And the result was that these data centers were all idle. So when we say something is idle, it means that the thing is not actually doing so many things, right? It means that the thing is not actually doing so many things. So they found out that their infrastructure was actually idle. So it caused so many issues, right? Now these data centers were no longer being used and were incurring high maintenance costs. Imagine you not using something, right? And you're actually going to have to start paying for the tax, for the maintenance, for electricity. So Jeff again, right, and his board had to look for a way to eliminate this cost. So what did they do? They decided to rent these servers for startup businesses trying to build presence in the IT space, and it actually worked. Which bet what Amazon Web Services, right? So if you come here, this is Amazon Web Services, right? This is Amazon Web Services. This is different from Amazon.com. This is their online retail store where they sell things, right? Now, this is Amazon Web Services. This is where businesses build their application, their infrastructure on. And today, if you stay to the end, you're going to see me creating infrastructure. So, this is Amazon Web Services, right? Now, it bests Amazon Web Services and companies like Airbnb, right? Companies like Netflix, companies like Canva, right? Were among the first few startups back then that actually leverage data centers of AWS to scale their infrastructure and achieve industry leadership within their various industries. So that's why when you see today, you stream Netflix, right? You use Airbnb, you use Canva, right? All of those infrastructures are running in what Amazon Web Services. And I'm going to see how that works, right? You're going to see how that works today, right? You're going to see all of that, and you're going to see how all those work today, right? Now, after that, Microsoft, which is Microsoft Azure, followed when they saw the progress of Amazon Web Services and decided to launch Microsoft Azure in 2008 and officially they started operations in 2010. 10 by leveraging Microsoft enterprise software strengths to offer cloud services to business. Right? So when they see, when people see things that when things are successful, right, everybody want to actually join the bandwagon, right? So the same thing happened to Microsoft. So when they saw that, oh, AWS is actually scaling with this, right? You can see they have Netflix on their platform, they have Canva on their platform. All these companies, startups, are actually using them. Decided to actually leverage on the existing market that they had, and they decided to actually launch what Microsoft Azure. Then Google, on the other hand, saw the progress of AWS and Azure and decided to launch the Google Cloud Platform, which began as the word Google App Engine in 2008 and later expanded into a full cloud platform called GCP in 2011. Right, and if you come to my screen here, you can see this is Google Cloud Platform. Just like what you have in AWS, right? They have the same thing in Google Cloud Platform. So I'm going to be showing you how we're going to actually use AWS for this, right? So AWS is the pioneers, they are the beginners of cloud infrastructure design. So everything that is built in Microsoft Azure, everything that is built in Google Cloud Platform, right, is from the blueprint of Amazon Web Services, right? Everything is, they use the blueprint of Amazon Web Services to actually build their own cloud platform. And we're going to be seeing how we can actually do that today. So in simple terms, right, cloud computing is when we upload our photos or videos to Google Drive, or when we stream a football match or movie on a platform like Netflix, right? So that is what cloud computing is, and we are going to actually see how we can actually do that today. So let us move on and let us look at why we should cloud in Nigeria, right? So before we look at how we cloud in Nigeria, right, I want us to actually see three articles, right? And if you come here, you can see that I have one article from Technology Times, right? And you can see the headline of this article is written, MTN Nigeria unveils 181 billion naira Sifiso Dabuga data center to power digital economy drive. Now, this article came out 1st of July 2025, right? And I was in a class, right, when I actually saw this pop up from Technology Times, right, in July 2025. That was last year, right? That was last year. Now, I want us to see another article again, right? And this one is from Airtel. And you can see Airtel bets on AI with $120 million data center set to go live in 2026. Now, this is another article, right? Now, I want to also see the third article, and this is from Equinix, right? And this is from Equinix. And if you come here, you can see that Equinix announces plans for new 22 million data center in Lagos. $1 million data center in Lagos. Now, all these guys, right? MTN, Airtel, right? Equinix, they are investing in building infrastructure. Now, this infrastructure will power the economy, will power what cloud platforms that decide to actually what leverage cloud opportunity. So MTN, Airtel, Equinix, they are all investing in cloud infrastructure. So why are they investing in cloud infrastructure? Why would they want to invest in cloud infrastructure? That should tell us so many things. That businesses, right, because of the rise of artificial intelligence, right, businesses are actually what building cloud infrastructure in the cloud. Now, no infrastructure, no application that uses AI can actually what be built without a cloud platform. That's why you're seeing companies like MTN, like Airtel, right, like Equinix, they are all investing heavily in data centers. Now, if you come down here, this is an example of what a data center is. Right? You can see how a data center looks like and what it looks like, right? Now, if you come down here, you can see that MTN Nigeria is today making a bold infrastructure play with the launch of the Sifiso Dambugwa data center, a landmark of $181 billion, $255 million facility, which the telco describes as the largest tier 3 fabricated modular data center in West Africa. Now, named in the honor of the late Dambugwa Sifo, former group CEO of MTN, right? The Lagos-based data center is a strategic investment, digital sovereignty, and economic self-reliance according to the nation's number one mobile network operator, MNO. Now, if I come down here to Airtel and I come down here, you can see that Airtel, right? Airtel Nigeria is making a $120 million bet on artificial intelligence. Now, the telecom giant says its upcoming 38 megawatt data center, now under construction at Eco Atlantic, is scheduled to come online in 2026 and will now what power Nigeria's AI ambitions by providing the much needed local compute capacity. Now, all this, right, is because of the rise of artificial intelligence. Now, look at Equinix. Equinix announces plans for a new $22 million data center in Lagos. The new data center named LG3 will be the first to be newly built by Equinix in West Africa and will support global connectivity to West Africa with Equinix Works Fabric. So all these are why we should what? We should cloud in Nigeria in 2026. These are the reasons. There's no other reason why you should not cloud in Nigeria in 2026 because the opportunities are massive, right? The opportunities are there. The opportunities are coming, even if they are not here, even if they are not actually that huge now, the opportunities are coming because by this year, by the middle of this year, in the second quarter, right, we should be experiencing a massive rise in cloud engineers, needs for cloud engineers, need for cloud infrastructure personnel, needs for cloud solutions architects, need for DevOps engineers. So if you don't position yourself now, and that opportunity comes, then you're actually going to be left out. So these are the reasons why you need to actually cloud now in Nigeria in 2026. So don't allow anybody to tell you otherwise. This is what it is, right? This is what it is, and that is why this webinar is here for you. That's why this free webinar is here to actually tell you all what you need to know about cloud engineering in 2026. So what are the big players, right? What are the big players? The big players of the cloud are AWS, Microsoft Azure, and GCP, which you have actually seen, right? They are the big boys, right? They own the cloud space, right? Nobody can actually compete with them, right? AWS is the number one. They are the pioneers, right? Microsoft Azure is number two, and Google Cloud Platform is number three. So nobody can actually compete with them, right? But the biggest player in the whole world, right, is the what AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. And they are the big boys, they are the pioneers, right? They are the beginners. Nobody, no cloud platform actually built the idea, actually started the idea from the scratch. It was AWS that started it from the scratch. And with the genius of Jeff Bezos, right, that's what enabled it. So let me log in so I can see how this platform looks like, right? Let me log in and show you how this platform looks like. Let me put my authorization. Please mute your mic so you don't distract the call. So this is what Amazon Web Services looks like, right? And if you can see, this is my AWS account, right? This is my AWS account. This is my account, right? This is my account. And if you come here, you can see that this is my account. This is my name here, right? This is my name here, right? This is the region I am in, right? And you can see that all these are what you're actually going to understand when you actually decide to actually join, right? Become a cloud engineer in 2026, right? So this is what the AWS account looks like, right? So this is an AWS infrastructure. Now, if you come here, this is GCP, right? They have similar services. So whatever is in AWS, GCP has it, Microsoft Azure has it, right? So you just need to just know one big player, right? What you just need to understand is just one big player and you're actually good to go, right? So you must not understand the three of them, no, right? Understand one big player and you're actually good to go, right? But for beginners, right, for demand, right, for everything, there's always a high demand for one above the others, right? Every organization, right, that use cloud infrastructure use AWS. Please mute your mic so I don't disturb the call, please. Emmy, please mute your mic. I'm seeing that your mic is on. Please just mute it so I don't disturb the call. Okay? So every company, right, uses Amazon Web Services because they have all the infrastructure that you actually need, right? They have everything that you actually need for you to actually build your cloud platform. So that is what you actually need to know, right? So now let's move on. So this is Google Cloud, right? This is Google Cloud. And if you come to this hamburger icon here, you can see that we have similar services like we have here, right? So if you come here, this is GCP, and you can see we have almost everything that we have in AWS, we have also have in the Google Cloud platform. So before we move on, right, let me create something in, let me remove these articles. I'm done with this, right? So let me create, show you guys how to create an AWS account, right? So you can see my AWS account here, right? So to create something like this, what you need to do, right, is to actually come here, right? And you're going to use this link to actually go to the documentation that shows you how you can actually create an AWS account. So if I open this link on another tab here, now you can see this documentation will show you all what you need to know to actually create your AWS account. Right, you can see that how you can get started with creating your AWS account. What you need an MFA, you need to create an administrator user, you need to access your AWS account. So all these are what is actually summarized in this documentation here, right? So it's always easy for you to follow who has actually gone there and actually made it easy for you, right? So this is what you need here. You don't need to come and start looking at this documentation, no, right? You come here, this is the requirement to create an AWS account, right? Now you need a name, an email, then you need a MasterCard, right? You need a MasterCard like First Bank, Zenith Bank. I know these banks are actually accepted, right? Access Bank is actually denied, right? Access Bank, I don't know. Access Bank API is not actually connecting to that of Amazon Web Services. So I don't know. The issue has lingered for so many, was it 2 years now? I don't know what the problem might be, but I know Access Bank, you can't actually use Access Bank for AWS, right? Now, if you don't have a MasterCard, you can visit www.grabfee.com. Now, when you visit this site, right, you actually create a virtual card, right, that you can actually use with AWS. So if you don't want to use your MasterCard, you can come here and create a virtual card you can actually use for that, right? Or if you want an alternative, you can try Grid.co. But the problem with Grid.co is that you need to actually deposit $5 before you actually use it, right? So if you deposit $5, then you can actually use Grid.co, right? Then you need an address, right? AWS will verify that okay, this person is actually, they actually live somewhere, so you need an address to open an AWS account. Also, you need a phone number, right? You need a phone number. So the phone number will suggest okay that you are from certain localities, right? So you need a phone number. So to register, you're going to click on this link. So if I click on this link and I open to another tab here, let me remove this documentation here. You can see it brings you to this page here, right? So when you come to this page, what you need to do is to actually put your root user email. So the root user email is your own email, right? The email you want to use to actually create your account, right? When you put your email, you put your account's name here, right? So the name can be Chinedu. Let me see who is on call. It can be Chinedu. It can be Shegun. It can be any. It can be Ambali. It can be anybody, right? It can be anyone that is able God. It can be anybody that's actually any name. Right, so you put the names and you verify your email address and you actually move on to the next step, right? So when you move on to the next step, you actually put in other details that are actually necessary, like the bank account and what you have made, right? So all these are what you need to do before you actually start creating your AWS account, right? So those are the steps you actually need to create. I already have an AWS account here, right? But if you want me to create an AWS account for you on this call, you can actually say it and I'll help you create your an AWS account. So who wants to create an AWS account on this call? Who wants to create an AWS account on this call? If you want to create an AWS account on this call, you can raise up your hand, or you can just put it on the chat box and I'll help you, right? But I believe that many of you are not actually ready to create one now, right? But if you want to, you can't see my screen. Okay, Annie, I can see you. Just give me 1 second. Can you see my screen now? I believe you can see my screen now, right? Okay, you need an AWS account, any. Okay, what you will do is if you want an AWS account, right, you need to actually bring in your details, like your yeah, I'm presenting. You see my screen when I move, right? You bring your name, you bring your these details are actually pointed here, right? That is what you're actually going to bring, right? All these details I pointed here, that is actually what you're actually going to bring, right? So when you bring all these details, right, you're actually going to start creating your Amazon Web Service account, right? So all these details is what you actually need to actually start creating your AWS account. You can see them, right? You can see you need a name, you need an email, you need a Mastercard, right? And you need an address and a phone number. So what you do is that when you bring all these things, right, then you actually start.
Can I make some contribution?
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Okay. I had one in the past, but I guess it has expired. But and
Sorry, let me call you. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
yeah, I can see it very well.
Okay, thank you. You have been seeing this since when you joined the
So
call, right?
I had one. Yes.
Okay, thank
So
you.
I had one, but it has expired. And
Okay,
while trying to create another one, I was told that I can't create another one with the same email
address, right?
address. Exactly.
Yes, you cannot create one with another with the same email address. So what you need to do, you need to actually create another email address entirely before your AWS can actually allow
I
you.
did
Okay, so what's the issue?
another email address, but he didn't accept it.
The
So
other
I don't know,
email,
maybe it was MasterCard.
the other email address.
He didn't accept it. But the new one, he didn't accept it.
Maybe did you pass through? Did you pass this place? This stage you're seeing on my screen? Did you pass it? Did you
The
pass
names of everybody.
like this place? I'm showing you this my screen, right? Did you pass this stage when you put in the email, you put in your
Okay,
name?
your voice is cracking. I really can hear you.
Okay, did you see this part on you're seeing on my screen? Did you see it?
I can't hear where.
Just off your video, any
Okay.
off your video.
All right.
So when you did you see this thing? Did you get here on your what you're seeing on my screen? Did you get here? Did you get to this point?
Showing how to create an account
Yes, sign up
with
for
Mastercard and
AWS.
rest.
Okay, that was
Yes,
what.
and the other option you gave.
Yes.
So I saw the other names also. So I couldn't jot the name what the name was, but in my own case was that I tried to create another
Okay.
message. That was about some months back.
Okay. Okay. So what
But
you what you what
I
you will
probably put
do?
a call after the program.
Okay, after the break, just reach out to me. just reach out to the course rep, right? Then she will
Okay.
actually link you
All
to
right.
me. So don't worry yourself,
Okay.
okay? All right.
All right.
So when you create your AWS account, you're actually good to go. Now there are some certain things you need to actually do here so that you don't actually subscribe for what you are not supposed to actually subscribe to, right? But if you're actually ready to actually create an AWS account, you can actually reach out to us, and we're actually going to put you through with this, right? So you don't have to bother yourself. All you just need is all these requirements, right, for you to actually create an AWS account. So let us move on and let us look at how to actually create an AWS budget. So the first thing you want to do when you come to your AWS account here, right, is to create a budget, right? Now, if you come here, you can see my cost and usage for this month, right? You can see that I have a very high cost here. And you can see that there's a service here that is actually costing me $3.26 dollars here, right? Though I'll be using this service to actually build infrastructure for a particular client that I'm actually working for currently, right? But if you come here, you can see that we have cost and usage here, and you can see that I have 3.26 USD that I've actually accumulated for this whole month, right? Now, if you come here, you can see that previous month, you could see that I actually had low usage, right? So after Akim, yeah, after the class, don't worry, okay. You want to ask a question or you want to participate? I don't get. Can you clarify me? So if you come here, you can just clarify me on the message. So if you come here, you can see that I've calculated course. So the reason why I'm calculated this course is because of the client I'm currently working on, right? And I'm actually building an infrastructure for them using an S3 bucket, which if you hover here, you're seeing the cost here, right? So the customer, right, the business is a startup. So they just said, okay, let me use my own infrastructure to actually build whatever they want for them. That is why you're seeing this cost here, right? But what I want us to actually talk about is AWS budget, right? Now, why do we create AWS budget? Now, when we use AWS budget, we create budgets to actually plan service usage, service costs, and infrastructure reservations. Now, everyone works on a budget, right? Everyone works on a budget, right? Even small, medium, and large enterprises, as well as government organizations, work on a budget, right? Now, including you learning this course, we all work on a budget. I work on a budget, right? Everyone, even the government, works on a budget. Now, the information on AWS budgets we actually update 3 times every single day, right? It will actually update 3 times every single day. So it means that if you come here to my infrastructure here, this budget you're seeing here, this course is always what updating 3 times every day, right? Now, the major advantage of setting up a cloud budget is to avoid what paying for idle infrastructure. So what it actually means is that there are some times that we might actually be running idle infrastructure, right? And it becomes an issue for us, right? It becomes an issue for us. So we can actually run idle infrastructure and we don't know that our infrastructure is idle and it actually keeps on costing us, right? Uh, okay, my presentation. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me check this. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen? Okay, so sorry about that. So sorry about that. So sorry about that. So AWS budget, right, is what allows us to actually create plan for our service usage, our service costs, our infrastructure evaluations, and everyone, like I said, right, works on a budget. Small, medium, large enterprises, as well as government organizations, all work on a budget, right? Now, if you come to my infrastructure here, like I was saying, right, you can see that I've accumulated some costs here. This is my AWS infrastructure, and you can see that I've accumulated some costs here, right? And like I said, right, this cost you're seeing here is the cost that um, I'm actually building infrastructure for a client currently, right? I'm currently actually building infrastructure for a client currently. That is why you're seeing that this cost is actually accumulating here. Now, if you come down here, you can see that I have there are some months that actually did nothing here because I didn't actually use my account. But this client actually specified that they wanted me to actually use my own infrastructure, my own account to actually build what actually they wanted, right, for them. That's why you're seeing here. So when we create AWS budget, right, we want to actually pay for only what we are actually using. Many times, right, when you're actually building cloud infrastructure, right, you might observe that you might have idle resources actually running here, right? When I say idle resources, something that is not actually giving your organization money, right? It's actually running and it's actually what costing the organization, right? So why we build budgets and AWS budget is to make sure that right, whatever we are using is what is actually benefiting the organization. So we need to actually create an AWS budget, which is the first thing you need to do when you actually want to log into your AWS account. So the first thing we want to do here, right, is to create an AWS budget. So what I will do is that I'll come here to my infrastructure, right, and I'll search for S3, right? So if I search I'll search for budget. So I'm very sorry, I'll search for budget, right? So when I search for budget, right, I will actually go to where that service is, right? So I'll locate budget and I'll click on it and I'll open to another tab here. So don't wait for it to load. Now, when I get to budget, right, the next thing I want to do is to create a budget, right? The next thing I want to do is to create a budget, right? So why I want to create a budget is for me to, so that when I reach a particular threshold, I get a notification. So I'll click on create a budget here. Like I said, the reason why you create a budget is to make sure that you don't overspend based on what your organization is actually what budgeting for, right? So when you come here, you can see that we have two ways of your budget setup. You can use a template, which is the simplified way, or you can customize it, which is what an advanced way. I'll click on customize here. Now, when I click on customize, right, I'll come down here and under budget types here, right, we have cost budget, which is recommended. You have usage budget, you have savings plans budget, you have reservation budget, right? So for cost budget, right, what it means is that you want to actually specify the cost of your infrastructure. So when we say cost, right, we want to actually monitor the cost. If you come here, this is what they call a cost budget. This is a cost usage, right? So I want to monitor how I'm actually using my infrastructure here. It is very, very important you do this. The first thing you get a job, this is the first thing you need to actually do for your organization's what infrastructure. So if I come here, right, I will leave it as cost budget because we want to monitor how our infrastructure spend is actually what's faring. So I will leave it as cost budget, right? Then the next thing I want to do, right, is to come here and click on next, right? Now if you click on next, you come down here and you have to give a budget a name. Now if you come here, I have this documentation. So let me shift this here so I can just look at the documentation, and so that you just starting, you can actually understand what I'm doing, right? So when you come here, I want to give a budget a name, right?
Hello, sir.
Okay, and with you,
So, sir, please, can you do us a favor? I don't know if you can, this little tutorial we're getting so far,
it's
if it's possible for
recorded,
us to
it's
get it.
recorded, it's recorded. Don't worry, it's
All
recorded.
right.
Yes, you'll get it after now, right?
Okay.
Yes.
And the PDF.
Yes, I'll give it. Don't worry. I'll send it to the course. She'll send it to you guys in the group. Don't worry yourself.
All right, sir.
All right. So when you come here, right, the first thing you want to do is to set your budget name, right? So you're going to give your budget any name, but for me, I'll give it infrastructure cost budget. So I'll just come here, copy this. I'll just be lazy. Control C it. I'll come here and I'll paste it here. So the name of my budget is infrastructure cost budget, right? So when I come to set budget amount here, so when I come to set budget amounts here, right, I want to actually set the type of budget I'm actually creating, right? So what I will do is that we're going to leave it at monthly budget. Now, why we're leaving it at monthly budget is because we want to be checking how we are spending every month. Now, if you come here, you can see my cost and usage is monthly. So this is the monthly usage for March, right? And at March, I've actually used 3.26, and you can see what is costing me this S3 bucket that I actually have running here, right? As 2.75 USD. Then tax is 0.2623. I beg your pardon, right? So that is what we want to check cost for. So we want to check it monthly. Now you can come here also and check it quarterly based on the organization you're actually working for, right? You can leave it as recurring or expiring. So expiring means that you can set when you want this project to actually expire, or you can leave it at recurring and you just make sure that every quarter it actually just changes. Every quarter is actually just, this is for quarter one, right? So quarter one is going to end March. For every quarter you have 3 months, right? January, February, and March is a quarter. So these were the first quarter of this year. That's why you're saying it's marking quarter one here, right? So, but naturally, you want to actually set your budgets monthly, so you can actually monitor your monthly costs. Then the next thing I want to do is to check the budgeting method, right? So we want to leave the budgeting method as fixed. So when we say fixed, we want to actually specify a single amount that we want to actually monitor against, right? So if I come back to my documentation here, right, you can see that under fixed, right, we're going to actually specify a budget amount, right? So when I click on fix, right, we're going to enter any amount of our choice, but we're actually going to put any a realistic what amount. So let me say my organization's cost is let me just say 0.5 USD. That's our budget. I'm just giving you a case study, right? It can be $1,000, it can be $2,000 based on what we're actually budgeting for, right? So I'm just going to leave it at 0.5 USD, right? Then the budget scope is what we want to actually monitor, right? Is what we actually want to what monitor. Now, are we monitoring the entire AWS service or the entire infrastructure we have, or are we monitoring specific services? Right? So if we're monitoring specific services, it means that we want to actually choose specific services we want to actually look at, right? But in reality, right, you want to actually monitor every infrastructure that is running in your account. You want to monitor everything going on in your account. So what is recommended is that you monitor all the services that is running. If you come here, you can see that it's all the services that's actually running that is in this cost and usage here, right? Then the next thing we want to do, right, is to come down here, and for the aggregate cost, we're going to leave it at unblended. So when we say unblended, it means that as we are actually accumulating costs, we want to be seeing it live. We want to be seeing it updated. That is what this unblended means here, right? That's what you're seeing here, unblended. So we're going to leave it at what? Unblended. You can choose anyone, amortized, blended, not blended, but in reality, what you want to see is unblended, so that as you're using, you're actually seeing how you're using, so you can actually understand what's actually going on in your infrastructure, right? Then you come down here and you click on next here. Then we'll come down here. So under the budget amount, right, I'm going to click on add an last threshold here, right? So if you click on add an last threshold here, you can see that we can set a threshold. So what is a threshold? A threshold is that amount that we're going to reach. That when we get to that amount, we want AWS actually will send us a message, right? So it can be half of my entire budget. So that if we get to certain amounts, for example, if you come here, right, you can see that I've spent 3.26 2.66 US dollars, right? So what it means is that if I set a threshold of $1.26, it means that when I hit $1.26, I will have gotten a message from Amazon Web Services, right? So that is what this threshold is, right? So I'll come here and put the absolute value. So absolute value means the actual value we want to get to for us to have actually notified. My percentage is the percentage of the amount of what I've already set, right? So I'll just put it at 0.25 USD, right? Which is the absolute value. And we're going to leave it like so here, right? Then I'll come down here. We're going to leave it as actual, not forecasted. Forecasted means what we predict we are actually going to spend. So actual, when we get to this 0.25, send us an email. So when you come to email represent here, you want to put all those that are that are involved in the finance part of your organization, right? So I'll come here and put my own email here, right? So in reality, you want to put the emails of those that are actually those that are in charge of finances, like the auditing team, the accountants, your the senior cloud engineer, those that are responsible for overseeing the cloud infrastructure, right? And you can see you can put up to 10 email recipients here. So when you put an email, you put comma, put the next email until you actually put all those that are responsible for what your cloud infrastructure, right? Then I'll come down here and I'll click on next, right? Then I'll come down here again, I'll click on next again, right? Then I'll review my what I've actually done and I'll create a budget. So you can see I've created my budget, right? So what it means that if I get to 0.26, right, I will get an email. So why this is very important is because when you're building cloud infrastructure, right, your people that are actually involved in the entire cloud infrastructure want to actually see your what you guys are actually spending. They want to actually see how your the spending is actually happening, how it's occurring in real time. And when they see it, right, they want to actually know how you're actually managing the cloud infrastructure budgets that was actually what budgeted for their cloud infrastructure. So when you work for companies like Money Point, like OP, right, like Netflix, like Canva, they all run their infrastructure in the cloud. So you want to monitor whatever is happening there. As a cloud engineer, that is your job, right? It's not just to come and start building anything. You don't know what you're just building things. Right? You can see AWS will charge you based on what you're actually spending. So you want to make sure that what you're actually using is exactly what's actually gaining your organization what giving your organization what value. Because these guys, right, nobody is actually the same thing. If you come to GCP, is still the same thing, but GCP is more expensive, and that's why most organizations actually choose AWS. AWS is very, very affordable, right? AWS is very, very affordable. So this is what you need to know, and this is the first step you need to do when you actually start working as a cloud engineer. This is the first thing you want to do. This is the first thing you want to do. Please mute your mic, mute your mic, mute your mic, mute your mic. This is the first thing you want to actually do. And it's the first step for your organization infrastructure. That's why when you're working for you, maybe you're actually freelancing, right? You're actually freelancing. Gaba Yanusa, please, Yunusa, can you off your video so you don't actually make the network to lag? Just off your video, off your mic, please, Gaba. You don't need the video. We don't need the video here. Gaba, please, just off your video, off your mic. So that is what you need to do, right? At the first step of when being what a cloud engineer, right? That is the first thing you need to do being a cloud engineer. Gaba, can you off your mic? Just off your mic, please. Off your mic, off your very good, off your video. Very, very good. So this is what you need to actually do by the time you actually become starts your cloud journey, right? Starts your cloud journey. That is exactly what you actually want to do. So let us move on to the next agenda. So who has any question? I believe that we all understood everything I actually said, right? It was very, very clear, very, very understood, and I believe that you actually understood every single thing. Now let us move on to the next agenda and let us look at the pathways to a cloud career. Right, so what are the different pathways to a cloud career? Right, we're going to look at the present and the future, which is the cloud, and we're going to look at how tech dealer can actually help us. Right, so what is so like I said, right, we have looked at AWS budget, right? And we're also going to look at how to actually host a static website on AWS, but we're not going to actually look at it now, right? We're going to look at it at the ending of this webinar, right? Then we're going to looking at key benefits for businesses, for startups and multinationals, and key benefits for you. So what are the key benefits of businesses? Like I said, right? Back in the day, right? Businesses will actually build their entire infrastructure from the ground, right? So what they needed to do was to actually build data centers, stack up data centers, like what you saw in that Equinix article, right? They had to build it, they had to stack it, and it's very expensive, right? They need to power it, they need to service it, they need to update every single thing. And that's made it very expensive for businesses. That's why you could see back in the day, right? Businesses that were actually existing were only those businesses that actually had huge amount of funds, right? Legacy companies like First Bank, Zenith, right? Those companies had huge investment funding. So they could actually start up and they're good to go, right? But small startups, imagine I have a startup, right? Maybe a fintech company, right? And I want to actually create a company. I want to actually win the IT space. Am I going to actually start building my own data center? If my angel investor funding was 1 million, 1 million will it cover me to actually build a data center? No, it's not going to be possible. I cannot build a data center 1 million naira or $1 million. It's not going to work, right? So the key benefits of cloud computing is that it has helped businesses, startups and multinational companies to actually what start up, to actually what market their products. That's why you see companies like MoneyPoint, companies like OP, right? Companies that you can every day you see a new startup is because of cloud computing. So anybody can just come here if they have a business, they can just come to this cloud platform like AWS, right, and start building things. It's now very simple, very, very easy. It's no longer like before, whereby you have to start building physical data centers. You have to start bringing in expert trades to actually mount those physical data centers for you. It's no longer like that. The world has actually transformed and changed. So what they need to do, create an AWS account, right? And look for a cloud engineer that is vast with what the cloud's all about, and they're good to go. That's why you're seeing Netflix, you're seeing Canva, you're seeing OP, you're seeing MoneyPoint, and various startup companies in Nigeria are actually what scaling. If you're into football, if you're watching football, you're seeing today you see one best company has started as you see one best company today, you see another best company tomorrow, you see another best company next tomorrow. It's because of the cloud. It's the cloud that is making it possible. Nobody has to wait again to start building physical data centers before they can actually scale, right? AWS, GCP, Azure, they've made it very, very possible for anybody, even you yourself. If you have an idea, look for a developer, developer use it for you. Look for a cloud engineer, the cloud engineer will help you what go live and you're good to go. So that is a key benefit for what? For businesses, for startups. In fact, the cloud benefited more startups than any other business in the world. So that is a very, very big advantage, right, of cloud computing for businesses, right? So let us move to how this can actually benefit you, right? Let us move to how this can actually benefit you. So from zero to cloud hero, how can the cloud benefit anyone? Right, everyone in this call, how does the cloud benefit us? Now, we have top skills for technical and non-technical roles to earn from when you become an AWS cloud solutions architect, right? You can be a cloud consultant, you can be a cloud marketer, you can be a cloud trainer, you can be a cloud engineer, you can be a cloud support engineer, you can be a cloud solutions architect, you can be a platform engineer, you can be a site reliability engineer, you can be a DevOps engineer, you can be a cloud network engineer, you can be a cloud LLM developer, you can be a cloud security personnel, so many things, right? But I'll start from cloud consultants here. Now, you know, I'm saying cloud consultant, starting from cloud consultant is because most people don't actually understand what the cloud is all about. They just feel when I hear cloud, I hear DevOps. I want to be DevOps. I want to be DevOps. I want to be DevOps. Come on, right? We have so many things, of so many ways you can actually be or earn from the cloud, right? And one way is to actually be a cloud consultant, right? So, who is a cloud consultant? Who is a cloud consultant? Now, a cloud consultant is someone that actually what advise companies, startup business on a cloud platform they can actually choose. I know a lady, right? Now, this lady was actually part of one of our webinars, right? And after everything, she decided to actually join in. And today, this woman is a consultant. What did she learn? She learned what cloud computing is all about. And today, that woman has actually onboarded 4 startups, right? 4 startups to start using Amazon Web Services. When I heard this, I was shocked. Like, technical consultant told me that that lady I thought is now a consultant. I like, how? Like, when did she even start? That she's not a consultant. Now, what this woman did was she didn't learn. She said, Mr. Chinedu, I don't want the technical, I don't want all those technical aspects. I don't want it. Let me just learn what the cloud is all about. And she took the cloud solutions architect course, and today this one has created a company. In fact, two other guys that actually were in the DevOps class, right? She actually taught those two. She actually what brought in those two guys, right? And those two guys currently works for our company. So what did she do? She had connections before. Most of you here have connections, right? What she just needed was the knowledge. So she collected the knowledge, right, from the class, then used her connection and built a business out of it. This woman onboarded 3 UK startups to start using Amazon Web Services, then employed 2 guys that were in her cohort. Then after the DevOps class, right, she actually asked us to actually bring 2 people for her, right? And we told her that she should choose from the cohort that she actually learns with, and she chose 2 guys. And those 2 guys right now work for that lady, right? And she pays them 600,000 naira every single month, and they work remotely for that company. So what I'm trying to say is that if you don't want to be in the technical part of it, you can be a cloud consultant. Advise companies on what they should do, how they can actually start, right? Why they should use AWS, why they should use GCP, why they should use Azure, and tell them the benefits and whatever they're going to actually benefit when they actually use a particular cloud platform. Then you can be a cloud marketer, right? Now, before I go further, I want to show you one job posting here. Now, this is a job posting, though it has expired, right? But this is a job posting for a cloud sales engineer. And you can see the pay is between 300K to 5 million naira a month, right? Now, look at the job description of this. Look at the job description of this. Look at it. Basic qualification requirements: 1 to 3 years of experience in B2B sales, preferably in tech, software as a service, or IT services. Tech savviness, basic, look at it, basic understanding of cloud computing concepts with major providers like AWS, Azure, GCP is highly desirable. Communication drive. So this is a salesperson with AWS skills. That is what they are looking for. Have you seen it? Did you share any technical part? Did you share anything like Kubernetes, Docker, or anything? No, right? So what I'm trying to say is that what you need to do is to have the basic knowledge. You must not actually go or delve into the more technical aspect of things, and you can be a cloud marketer for that. You can also be a cloud trainer like me, right? You teach people that want to actually get started. Many people want to actually get started. People in the US, people in the UK, they want to actually understand how the cloud works, and you can actually teach them, right? There's a lady I'm currently training currently, right? She lives in Atlanta, and I'm currently training her and her daughter. So you can also be a cloud trainer, right? Then you can also be a cloud engineer. So the cloud engineer is people like us, right? That actually were in the more technical part of things, right? You can be a cloud support engineer, in which you can be in Nigeria here and work for Amazon Web Services. So what you will do that you will actually helping businesses that use Amazon Web Services to actually troubleshoot their issues. That's going to be your job. And there's some guys here that actually live in Nigeria here and actually do that. So you can be all these things, right? So it's not limited to one aspect of anything. You can also be a cloud solutions architect. which is the same thing as cloud engineer, because you need to have the same skills with a cloud engineer, right? You can be a cloud solution architect, you can be a platform engineer, you can be a site reliability engineer. And money point, I'm looking for site reliability engineers for only God knows when, right? Anyone that comes on board after 1 month, 2 months, that one, I think they usually travel abroad or they get better opportunities. You see them again looking for in LinkedIn. Another one comes again. That one goes after 2 months. Another one comes. That one go after 1 month, and they always look for. I heard that now they've started going out abroad to start contracting. Um, they started going abroad to start contracting Indians, right? They started going abroad now to start contracting Indians. So why will Indians do the jobs of Nigerians? Because we don't have a lot of Nigerians here that can actually handle this. That is why you need to actually come on board, right? That's why you need to actually come on board and become a cloud engineer, right? That's why you need to actually come on board and get started with this, right? So that your jobs, money that's meant for you, will not go abroad, right? So all these things are what you need to know on how you can actually, the cloud can actually benefit you, can actually benefit anyone, right? And these are what you need to learn, right? All these are how you can actually earn from the cloud, right? So now let's look at how the cloud is exploding and what this means for you. Now the cloud is the present and the cloud is the future, right? Now massive industry growth says that what, that because of AI adoption, right, digital transformation, and the need for scalable IT infrastructure, the global cloud computing market size was estimated at $752.44 billion in 2024, and is projected to reach over 2.39 trillion by 2030. Right? Now, this is why the cloud is exploding. Now, this 2.39 trillion, right, means that it's just an estimate. But I still predict that because of the rise of AI, is going to be still be what's massive. This is going to be more. Because the way the world is going to right now, right? Many companies, right, we adopt the cloud because most of their applications will be integrated with what, artificial intelligence, right? It will be integrated with artificial intelligence, and no company, I'll tell you, no company, right, can use AI without a cloud platform. So you need a cloud platform for you to actually use artificial intelligence. So this is an estimate, and I believe that it's going to be more than this, right? It's going to be more than this. Then we have what they call skills gap crisis, job security and opportunity, right? We have limited demand, high supply. In Nigeria currently now we're having what, low demand and high demand and low supply. Before it was balancing, it was the supply was meeting the demand. Now we now have high demand, low supply, because more companies are now adopting the cloud. We don't have skilled people to actually meet up to that. Now you're seeing one person doing 5 jobs. So skill gap crisis is one way of how the cloud is actually was exploding, right? Then every company is a cloud company in the world of artificial intelligence. Like I said, right, you cannot actually build infrastructure in the current world, right? If your infrastructure, right, it needs AI to survive, you can't actually what, build it, right? You cannot actually build it without using a cloud platform. So this is what you need to actually know about, right? So what are the mistakes of aspiring cloud professionals, right? And how do we actually avoid them? Now, the tutorial trap, right? This is particularly vital for beginners and non-technical individuals. You should not build applications to become a cloud professional. No, most people don't understand this. Most of people just feel that, I have to learn this, I have to learn that, I have to learn, because of you don't follow a proper direction. They don't follow who knows the road. Follow who knows the road, right? Follows who knows the road. You have to follow those that actually know the road for you to actually want succeed in anything you're doing. Apart from learning, apart from cloud, apart from anything, you need to actually follow someone that has been there, that has done it, for life to be easy for you, right? Now you want to learn this, you want to learn that. cloud engineers, your job is not to build application. Your job is to build infrastructure that applications will run on, right? And you can see this is an example of an infrastructure. This is an example of an infrastructure you're going to build things on, right? So your job is not to actually build an application, no, right? I know someone that contacted me and was telling me, Mr. Chinedu, how do I build an application? I said, "Ah, my job is not to build an application. Your job is not to build an application. Our job is to what? Build the infrastructure, not build an application, right? Your job is to build infrastructure, not build the application. So you build the infrastructure that the applications will run on. We build infrastructure that powers the application. I don't be, I'm not a developer. AI now can build applications, but does AI have the brain to actually what scale, create infrastructure for the application to work? No. That's why I'm in high demand today, right? That's why I'm in very very high demand today because I build infrastructure that applications run on, right? And companies cannot deal without those that build infrastructure that what applications run on. I just want to show you guys my LinkedIn message. If I show you my guys my LinkedIn message, you will just nod your head, right? People, we are in high demand. So you need to actually get on board. I am not joking, right? I am not joking. I work for Tech Data Consulting. I am telling you from you need to actually get on board to actually see what is actually going on. And it's going to be worse, right? Because you cannot see one person here, one skilled person doing 10 jobs because we don't have skilled people available. Is baffling, right? So guys, that is what you need to actually know, right? Then lack of hands-on experience, right? You need to show your proof, and you can only show proof through a platform like GitHub or whatever, or if you have your website, you need to actually show hands-on experience. So that is the another mistake that cloud professionals actually make, right? So you need to actually show proof. So in this course, right, there are many hands-on experience you're actually going to use because the truth is that okay, yes, employees are actually looking for those that will build cloud platform, but you need to actually show that you can actually do the job, right? So we have a structure whereby you're actually taught how to actually record yourself, right? Build your portfolio, build your CV, and when they click on your CV, they can actually see you building your project or showing your project of what you have actually built. That is how you get employed, right? They need to know that you can build something, right? So you need to actually show proof. You need to actually show proof that you can actually do the job, right? Then no power of mentorship. Most people they don't have those. You cannot do it all alone. You need someone that have done it, someone that is there for you to be able to actually do it. It makes life very easy. That's why they say the rich always gets richer, right? Because there are some certain things they don't do. They actually employ people to actually do it for them. That's why they say, the rich is always richer because they're actually smart, right? So you cannot do all on your own. You need somebody to actually guide you. You need someone to actually what mentor you, right? You need to actually what someone to actually what mentor you to actually what show you the way. Then stop listening to gatekeepers. What are gatekeepers? Gatekeepers are those that tell you you cannot do it. You can do anything you put your mind on, right? You can do anything you put your mind on. Always make sure, tell yourself possibly that I can do this, right? I can do this. Most guys in Nigeria, they will never tell you the truth. They will keep things for you. You will see them they will, every evening, this weekend, right? They're always balling, they're always enjoying themselves. They are gatekeepers. They don't tell people things. They don't tell people what is actually happening. They get the information, they hold it to themselves. And when you come to them, guy, how far? What is the way forward? They'll say, now so we do, right? So you need to actually stop listening to gatekeepers. You need to actually take charge of your life. You can see the way Nigeria is right now, right? You need to actually take charge of your life and decide to do something different. Do something different, right? Do something different, right? So these are the mistakes cloud professionals make, and these are how to actually what avoid them, right? So how can you start your cloud journey with Tesla Consulting, right? Now, what you will gain when you learn with us, now you have what a structured learning path through our learning curriculum. You're going to follow who knows the road. Now, if you come here, right? We have so many curriculums, right? Now, this is a curriculum for the Cloud Solutions Architect course. Now, this is a cloud computing course. And this is the first course that anybody that is actually delving into cloud should actually take, right? And you can see we have introduction to cloud computing, AWS global infrastructure, security complementer. This is what you're going to take in week one. So every single thing you need to know in week two, hands-on. You're going to get your hands dirty, right? Because you're not all about understanding all this. You need to understand this quite alright, right? But you need hands-on. You need to practice. Just like I had built a project, an AWS budget for you, right? You need to actually know how to actually build these things. So week two, you're actually getting your hands dirty, right? Week three, we go again, right? You understand what servers are, Elastic Compute Cloud, virtual servers, networking basics, VPC, right? Then in week four, I beg your pardon, you get our hands dirty, right? You do practical work with the management console, with the CLI, right? In week five, databases, storage, monitoring, load balancers. In week six, we get our hands dirty, right? In week seven, we go again. We understand Amazon Q, Amazon Bedrock, artificial intelligence, how we can use generative AI on AWS, right? And we are going to also get our hands dirty in this week. So from week is it week six down, right? We're going to do more practical work, right? Then in week eight, hands-on. So we're going to do our final project, our mock exam, and everything we need to actually know about this, right? So all these are what we are actually going to do, right, in this class of solutions architecture. And this course is the first course. This was a course that lady took, right? And after she took the course, right, she actually became a consultant, right? She's actually became a consultant. She only that course she took. So anybody that wants to actually have the foundational knowledge of how the cloud works, that is the course you need to actually take. And this cloud solutions architect course is not a beginner course, right? Now, why I said it's not a beginner course is that a beginner can take it, but we made it that you go from beginner to mid level. You go from beginner to mid level. Now, there are some people that they will teach you beginner. That cannot help you. We need to take you from where you are. We'll take you from where you are, right, to mid level. So that is the solutions architect course you need to actually take for you to actually start, right? Then you're going to build real world projects with our hands-on lab. We have so many hands-on labs, right? We have so many hands-on labs, and you're going to actually build real world projects with those hands-on lab. Then you're going to be guided by an expert trainer, and the expert trainer is me, right? I am the person presenting this webinar. Is I am your actually what your expert what trainer, right? So you're going to actually learn this course with me, right? Then easy to follow learning materials using our African and Nigerian domain example. So you're going to learn this, right, using what we know, right? When you learn with the wise people, they have their own domain. They have how they say things. Now, the things that you feel that they say that becomes difficult for you is very, very simple. But it's because of you are not actually in their domain. That's why it's very difficult for you to actually understand it. Most of them just call English hard English language, and you'll be surprised because I say, what is this person saying? But in reality, it's something very, very simple. And in this course, we're actually going to break all those down for you. You can see when I was creating that budget, you could see how easy it was, right? That is how it is going to be. Then you have a community and support system where everybody is actually supporting each other. Like you saw, like I told you, that lady, right? She actually employed two guys when she actually built her own consulting company, right? And she employed those two guys, and they actually work for her till today. Then you have a cloud certification part, right? So we'll show you all what you need to do for you to actually get certified and start landing remote jobs, right? So your class solutions architect roadmap with tech dealer is in this graph, right? So after you take the cloud solutions architect course, right, like I said, cloud computing is the king, right, of all cloud engineering rules, right? So if you want to go a step further of understanding what cloud computing is, right, after taking the essential first step, which is cloud computing, and you want to actually what move on to more advanced specializations like DevOps and cloud system administrator or cloud network troubleshooting specializations, which are also in high demand, right? Now, if you decide to specialize, we offer these courses, but you need to first understand the basics of cloud computing. Now, cloud computing is enough if you want to be a cloud consultant or a cloud marketer, like I said, right? Now, you will learn all you need to know about that using in the AWS Cloud Solutions Architect course designed for beginners, which I've showed you the curriculum, right? You can see that this is the curriculum of that course. This is the curriculum. So this is what you need to know to be a cloud consultant, to be a cloud marketer. This is the beginning. In fact, you take it from beginner to mid level. So you need this. This is what you need, right? So don't get us wrong, right? This is good, right? But if you want to go specialize, if you want to specialize, right, then you need to take what the DevOps course, the cloud system administration course, and the cloud network troubleshooting specializations. Right, and if you come here, you can see this graph. You can see cloud computing in the middle. You can see DevOps at the top. You can see cloud network troubleshooting here down, and they're all pointing to cloud computing. So this is the foundation. So anybody that is a DevOps engineer, anybody that is a cloud network troubleshooting engineer, anybody that is a cloud system administrator, they all know cloud computing. Because if you don't know cloud computing, you cannot be a DevOps engineer. You cannot be a cloud network troubleshooting engineer. So the cloud AWS Cloud Solutions Architect is the must course for you to take. I will never lie to you. In techdealer consulting, we don't actually we tell you how it is, right? I tell you how it is. You need the basics, and the basics is what taking the AWS Cloud Solutions Architect course, because that course will take you from beginner to mid level. Then when you're in mid level, that's when you can now specialize. You cannot specialize when you're a beginner. It's not possible. You can never specialize when you're a beginner. There's step. Everything has a step, right? So that is what you need to actually understand, right? So how do you learn cloud computing? How do you take the AWS Cloud Solutions Architect? Now, remember that I told that we still have something here in which we are going to learn how to host a static website on Amazon S3, right? So before that, I want us to look at this, right? So how do you learn cloud computing? Now, you can learn cloud computing with us in two ways. Now, through the online mentorship masterclass. Now, you will learn this course with us in real time for 8 weeks through our mentorship masterclass. Now, each class will be recorded and you will join the mentorship group to receive updates and guidelines throughout the course as your career progresses. Now, naturally, this course was 102,000 naira. Right now, we have exclusive offer discount for webinar attendees. Now, if you attended this webinar or you are in the group, then we have a webinar price for you and it's limited. What you just need to pay is 60k, 60,000 naira. Now, to register, you're going to actually come here, right? And if I come to my screen here and I come here to our website, right? This is the course. This is the course. You can see it, right? This is the mentorship course here. This is the mentorship course and it's just for 60k, right? If I click on this, let me open this on another tab here. So let's wait for it to load. Why is it loading, right? So that is it. So if you want to attend or if you want to take the live mentorship masterclass where you have teammates like you learn together, you ask questions, you connect, right? Then you have to actually what pay 60,000 and it's just for what for 8 weeks. And the classes, you can see the classes are for 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. All classes will be recorded Fridays and Saturday, right? So I know most of us work, right? So after work, during the weekends, by that time, you can actually join the class, right? Very affordable, 60,000 naira, right? Then another way you can actually learn this course is through the guided session. So if you don't want to pay the 60,000 naira and you feel that you can learn on your own, fine, right? You can actually take the guided session class, right? And also, Tech Data Consult said they are actually giving a 10% off, right? Is it 10% off? Yeah, 10%, and they said it's limited. So if you want to pay, if you want to actually take this course, right, you can come here. So this is the mentorship section, right? You can come, you see it here. You can actually come here, look at the details of everything here. You can see, you can come up here and you can see what the course is all about, right? You can see, you look at everything here, and when you purchase this course, you join a group. Automatically, it takes you to a group. You can see customer review of people that have actually taken this course, right? You actually join a group, and you're going to be in a Telegram group, right? You join your co-learners, right? And you can actually connect, ask questions, and I'm telling you that you actually going to actually enjoy it, right? So this is what the mentorship course is. Now, the next thing, like I said, right, is the guided session. So the guided session is if you want to learn on your own means, if you want to learn on your own means, self-paced, maybe you feel that the cloud solutions architect course is actually expensive for you, right? You can actually take the guided session course. Please mute your mic, mute your mic, please, so I don't obstruct this course, please. Now, if you come here, you can click on this here. You can see this is the guided session course, right? Just go to www.techdealer.info, right? And I will share the link to this website in the group, right? If you come here, this is the guided session course, right? So you can come here, click on purchase, then you can use this, apply this cloud computing discount, and you get your discount. It seems it's 30% or 10% off, right? It's in tech dealer, that's just a promo actually giving. So what you will do is that the course is still the same thing, right? Everything you're going to learn in the mentorship course is what you're going to learn in this course, right? But the only difference is that this is for, like, this is like a guided session. So it's like you're looking at recorded videos and you're actually watching, and you're actually using to build your own cloud skills. So there's nobody that's going to actually what taking their time to actually pull you through. If you have any questions, you just have to solve. But though you're going to add it to a group where you can actually ask questions, you can actually um you responded by the course, your course advisor there, right? So she will respond to you any questions you ask, you responded to. But it's like a guided session, so you know that you're going to be logging into um um any video conference call every weekend, no, right? And nobody's going to teach you. There's not anybody going to teach you live. You just follow the videos and you watch and you actually learn. So those are the two ways you can actually learn this course, right? You can see that it's going for 30K, but you can actually apply that promo code. I don't know if it's still functional, right? But since it's still in this slide, I believe that it's still open. So you can actually quickly use it, and you can see that it's actually what's limited, right? So those are the two ways you can actually learn this course, right? Those are the two ways you can actually learn this course. So you can see they're very affordable, right? Based on what you want, right? Based on what you want. If you feel like watch learn this class with me in real time, right? Then you pay 60,000 naira. If you feel that okay, you want to watch, you want to actually learn it using pre-recorded version, then you can use the guided session, right? So any way you want to learn, right? It is left for you, right? So the next thing we want to look at here is the special benefits you will get, right? So after enrollment, you have special benefits. Now, after the course, during your internship program, you will get the following benefits. Now, LinkedIn profile optimization, right? You're going to actually optimize your LinkedIn profile, right? You're going to get Upwork and freelancer profile optimization also. You're going to have access to human resource teams in Nigeria and overseas, right? You're going to actually have opportunities to work for their dealer consulting clients, because we have clients, right? Then you're actually going to have what access to remote job opportunity through tech dealer consulting partner network and many more, right? So this is what you're going to get. Now, we have prices for the full course specialization enrollment. Now, the most two in-demand cloud roles are the DevOps and the cloud network troubleshooting course on AWS, right? Now, if you want to take the DevOps course, right, you need to learn some certain tools. You need Python, you need AWS Cloud, you need Linux, you need to learn CI/CD, IAC tools, Docker, and Kubernetes. And you can see the prices here. So it is very, 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 very affordable. right? You can see that in 6 months, you should be job ready to be a DevOps engineer. You can see that the cloud solutions architect role is for how many months, right? It's for 8 weeks, right? But if you want to be a DevOps engineer, I won't lie to you, you need 5 to 6 months. So in 5 to 6 months, you're going to be ready, and it goes for as low as 250K. It goes for as low as 250,000 naira, and you can see it is broken down for you here, right? Python, you're going to learn Python. You're going to learn AWS Cloud, which is 60,000 naira. You're going to learn Linux and Bash script because you need it. I work with it every day, so you need it. Then you're going to learn CI/CD tools, which is 110K, and the total price is around 50,000 naira. And in 6 months, 5 to 6 months, you should be job ready to start your cloud, your DevOps part. Then we have the cloud network and network troubleshooting on AWS course, right? And this cloud network troubleshooting is for 8 weeks for, like we said, the AWS cloud solutions architect is 8 weeks. Then you need advanced Linux and Bash scripting and AWS cloud network troubleshooting on AWS, which is 5 to 6 weeks. So in 3 months, if you don't want to be a DevOps engineer, you can be a cloud network troubleshooting engineer. And in 3 months, you should be job ready to become a what? A cloud network engineer. And you can see that AWS cloud is 55,000 naira, and the Linux and Bash scripting is 50,000, who makes what? More than 5,000 naira. So all these are what? Mentorship courses. They are not self-paced. You must actually join the class on the class days to actually learn these courses. And you can see that this down here, which is cloud network troubleshooting, is for 3 months, and the DevOps course is for 6 months. All these are what you need to actually understand, right? And if you come here, these are the benefits you will get: LinkedIn profile optimization, Upwork and freelancer profile optimization, access to hiring human resource teams in Nigeria and overseas. You're going to work for tech dealer consulting clients, like that woman, right? She's a client for us, right? She's a client for tech dealer consulting, right? So you can actually have the opportunity to actually work for those clients and other clients that actually part of tech dealers consulting partner network and many more. But the things you're going to actually benefit proper is the LinkedIn profile optimization, your Upwork and freelancer profile organization, your CV revamp optimization, which I actually mentioned earlier in this course. So these special benefits are only for those who taking the mentorship program, right? Those taking the mentorship program. So let me go back here, and let me go back here and actually try to create an S3 bucket, right? So we're going to create an S3 bucket so that you can actually understand how to create an S3 bucket. And this is documentation, right? This is documentation for creating for what an S3 bucket is. You can see how long it is, right? But I am not going to be explaining all this, right? I'm not going to be explaining all this, right? So we're just going to create a static website on Amazon Web Services, and we're going to actually was host a website there, right? So are we ready for this? Are we ready for this? So let me get started with this, right? So what I will do is that I'll come here, right? And I will let me cancel this, and let me bring this here closer back, closer to here, right? So we're going to host a static website, right? And for us to host a static website, we are going to host it on a service called Amazon S3. So this Amazon S3 is a very, very powerful service. It's used by businesses all over the world. Popularly, right? A popular business that uses S3 that you know is Netflix and Canva, right? So Netflix and Canva, they use S3 buckets a lot. It's a very, very vital service for them. These movies you stream on Netflix, right? When you use Canva templates, they all run from an S3 bucket. And if I come here, let me search for S3, and let me open this another tab here, right? So we're going to navigate to this service, right? We're going to navigate to S3, right? So if I come here, this is the service that is actually costing me this cost. So you can see 3.26 USD, right? It's this service that's actually costing me this, right? So I've come here, and let's wait for it to load. Mute your mic, please. Mute your mic. Mute your mic so I don't disturb the call. You can see that I have a bucket here, right? So this is these buckets that I actually use for ETL pipelines for a customer. That is what's actually costing me that price, right? But if you want to create a bucket, the first thing you want to do is to come to click on create buckets here, right? So you can see that I'm actually following this documentation. So you log into AWS Management Console, on the search bar, type for S3, which I've done, and in the Amazon S3 page, click on General Purpose Bucket and click on Create Bucket. So I'll come here. Let me make this bigger so I can see clearly, right? And here you can see I am now in my Create Buckets page, right? So the first thing we want to do is to choose our bucket type, right? So we have two types of bucket we can actually choose here, right? We can choose the general purpose or directory. Now, if I start saying some certain things, you might not actually understand what I'm saying, but I'm going to leave it at general purpose, right? Then I'll come down here and under bucket name, they said I should give my bucket name static website hosting bucket. So I'll copy this, right? We control C. I'll be lazy. I'll come here and I'll paste it here, right? So let me just remove that quotation so I don't get an error, right? So this is the name of my bucket, right? Then I'll come down here. Now, what I want to do here is to click on ACL enabled. You might not understand this, right? If I start explaining all this configuration, you're not going to understand. But I just want you to learn how to create an S3 bucket and host a website on this platform, right? Then I'll come down here. Then I'll leave it as object ownership here, right? Then I'll come back here and uncheck this box, right? Then I'll come down here. I will acknowledge it. I'll come down here. I don't want bucket versioning, so I'll leave it like so here, right? Then I'll come down here and under encryption, we'll leave it as server-side encryption because we want to actually protect our data at rest, right? Don't worry yourself. I know all these terms are going to be very, very technical for you, but just learn how to create an S3 bucket. That's just the main thing, right? Then I'll come here, I'll disable this. I'll come to advanced settings here. I will disable this and I'll come down here and I'll click on create bucket. So just be patient with it. So my bucket has been created, right? So if I come to buckets here, you can see the bucket I just created. You can see I have two buckets, right? This bucket that I created for a client and this one here that is my own bucket here. You can see there are two. One is for the client I created and one is the one I just created, right? So I'll click on this bucket I created, which is in this documentation here, right? Then the next thing I want to do, right, I've done all this, right, is to actually upload. So they say after the S3 bucket has been created, click on the name link which you saw I clicked on, right? Then click on upload and upload the folder containing your website dependencies and click on upload. So I'll come here, right? I'll click on upload here. Then I'll come to add folder here, right? Then I'll come to my where I have my, right? I'll come here, I'll click on this and I'll click on this website here. So I'll upload what I have, right? I'll click on upload again. And this is Tech Dealer's website, right? This is their mini website, right? Then I'll come down here and I'll click on upload here. So you can see that they are all uploading. So we're going to just give it a little time, right? So you can see everything succeeded. You can see it here. It all succeeded, right? So the next thing I want to do, right, is to click on close here. Now, after clicking on this, right, I want to click on this folder here I actually imported, right? So after clicking on this, the next thing on my documentation is to actually copy the name link of the index.html file and paste it in another tab. So see if we have your website, right? So I'll come here. I'll come down here. I'll click on this index.html, right? I'll click on copy URL, not copy URI, copy URL, not SURI, right? I'll click on this. I'll come here to another tab. and I'll paste it here and I'll click on enter. Now you can see that I'm having access denied here, right? So why is this? We're going to find out, right? So in my documentation, they said I should go to what? Properties. So I'll come here, right? And I'll come back here. Let me click my bucket again. Then I'll come to properties here. So this properties tab, I'll click on this properties tab, right? So I'll click on properties here. Now I'll come down here. I'll come down, right? I'll come down here. Then this static website hosting, I'll click on edit here, right? When I click on edit, I'll click on enable static website hosting. Everything is in this documentation, right? Everything is in this documentation, but because you're a beginner, you need to actually follow that documentation. That's how they learn. Me, I'm already an expert. That's why I can say I'm not going there, right? So the documentation, you need to actually follow it one step at a time. Don't do the way I'm doing it. Follow the documentation. That's how they learn. All our hands-on, that is how it is. Very, very easy for you to learn because you're a beginner, right? After you've mastered it, it now becomes very easy for you, right? So just understand what I'm doing, right? But for you, you're going to use this documentation. Then I'll come down here. You can say I click on enabled, right? Then I'll click on hosting type, host a static website, right? Then I'll come down here. Then under documents here, I'll put index.html. Now this index.html is the name of my HTML page. So I'm going to leave it like so here, right? I'm going to leave it like so here. I'm going to leave it as index.html, exactly how my HTML page is spelled. So I'll come down here, I'll leave it like default, and I'll click on save changes. I can see we have actually enabled static website hosting, right? So if you come back to my documentation here, right, and we locate the bottom and click on the edit button of our static website hosting page, right? I've done all this, right? Now let me try refreshing the URL again for my website. So I'll come here and I click on refresh here. You can see it's telling me access denied, right? So why is it telling me access denied? We're going to find out, right? So I'll come here. So the next thing they want to tell me that I need to do is to go to my static website page and check on permissions, right? So I'll come here. This time around, I'll come to permissions tab here. You can see I was in properties before where I enabled the static website hosting. So I'll come to permissions here and I'll come down here. And the next thing they say I should check is to check for the block public access bucket settings. Because if this is enabled, right, it means that we cannot actually, the work cannot access what we have. Well, you can see that it's off because when I was actually creating my bucket, I actually offed it, right? So this is actually good to go, right? Then the next thing I want to do is to try to actually what? Go to the what name link of my bucket and click on upload name link folder and select all the folder in that bucket. So I'll come here, right? And I'll come to what they call access points here, right? Now I can create an access point, but if I create an access point, it's not going to actually work. So I'll come back to my buckets here and click on bucket. Now if you come to this documentation here, right, they say we should go to our buckets and click on the name link of your bucket and click on upload name link folder and select all the files in that folder. So I'll come here. This is my bucket. I'll click on the bucket I created, right? Then I'll come to this my buckets here. This is the folder I brought, right? So I'll click on it. Now, when I come here, I'll click on this name here and automatically to select all the files in this my buckets, right? These are called objects. Now, when I click on this, right, I'll come to actions here and I'll come down here and I'll click on make public using ACLs and I'll click on it. So when I click on it, right, I'll come down here again and I'll click on make public because I want the world to access my objects, right? Because they are for a website, so I want the world to actually see what it is. Now, in reality, right, you don't want the world to see what's in your bucket. In reality, those videos, Netflix videos, right, the S3 bucket, it is not public. So why I'm doing this because of this is a website. I want the world to see my website. So I'll come back here, right? Then you can see they are now public, right? I'll click on close. Now what I will now do now is to come here again to index.html, click on it, click on copy URL, then I'll come here again and this time I'll paste it and I'll click on enter. Now you can see my static website saying, "Hello, hardworking Nigerian youth," and this is designed by Tech Dealer Consulting. So if I come back here and I refresh this, you can see my static website is now live. So this is how you host a static website on Amazon S3. You can see how easy it is, right? You can see how easy it is. You can see how simple it is, and companies will pay you well for these skills, right? Companies will pay you well for these skills. So this is what we need to know, right? This is what we need to know. You can see how easy it is. So these are reviews from our students that were actually taken, right? You can see that this our student is Amanda Truman, and this lady, I won't lie to you, she's one of my she was very, very perfect throughout the course, right? I didn't even know that this lady was from the US, Amanda Truman, right? And after the class, right, she actually sent me a message all the way from Atlanta, right, and told me that she thanked me for building her cloud career, right, and she actually got an entry level position at ATG and Pazura in the United States. I was very, very happy for her. I didn't know her, right? You know, those people that join the class, they're always quiet, they don't ask questions, but they actually rewatch the videos and get everything, right? So she was one of them. I didn't know she was even from the US, right? I didn't know she was from the US. It was after the class, right, that Tech Dealer Consulting actually told me that the lady was actually thanking me for um everything that I actually put her through, right? And this lady actually sent me $600. I won't lie to you. She sent me $600, and I was surprised. And Tekla contacted me and actually gave me this $600 that she actually sent to me. So what I'm saying this is that the quality of the service she got, she actually appreciated it, right? And she sent us a message, and she was very, very, very grateful. And I was very happy for her that she actually got a job at AT&G and Pazura, right? Then this again is a student that actually use the cloud computing course for their COS for his COS program, right? And he actually thanked us for everything that he actually got so far, right? And these are things that we also have so many students, so many reviews, but we cannot actually put everything in this slide because of what our time, right? So a closing remark I'll tell you is that if you love to learn in an organized way, now if you come here, you can see this is a documentation. The same thing for AWS budget, right? You could see that we had so many documentations, right? We had so many documentations. Let me remove this curriculums. You can see we have so many. I had two documentation. This is how you learn. You learn with documenting. It makes it easy for a beginner, right? So if you want to learn in a organized way, in a structured way, right? We're using what in-depth learning guides to follow along with our practical step. Then register with Tech Data Consulting today, and let us build your cloud future together, right? So if you want that, right, then register with us today, right? You can see it's always good for you to actually learn in a structured way. So that is it. So if there's any question, you can actually ask your questions now, right? Or if you don't want to ask the questions, I'll leave the our course assistant there will actually open the group. Right now there's someone that posted, I was in the group, I saw somebody just post so many things, scam group, and left it. So please don't join those kind of people, right? Those kind of people will not help you, right? So if you have any question, you can ask your questions, or if you have your questions, you can actually ask them in the group, right? So that is all we have for today, right? So we're going to see on the other side. So see you in class. Bye for now.